was after my mom passed away, mom and dad, and he and I got, well, we was close anyhow, but I would sit down and listen to him tell his stories, and he really appreciated that. And he said, he said, not everybody wants to listen to stories that older people want to have to tell. And he was in his 80s at that point in time, about 85. And yeah, there's things that I know that none of the other grandkids know, or some of the even the his kids didn't know. Because they just didn't. And we was with my cousins there after my cousin Jerry passed away, and I was telling them stuff, and Carol, my aunt Carol, or my cousin Carol Ann, she's 68. She said, "You listened to him, didn't you?" And I said, "Yeah." I said, she said, "Rest of us were too busy, I guess, to listen." I said, "I don't know," but I said I enjoyed. At least I'd stay down there. I'd go down and visit him. Wouldn't come home till 11 o'clock at night, and and he just. The boys, Matt had it out there the other night. They've got a book there, and I took it whenever he passed away. I mean, they want to know things you want, and it was Clay County Answers book about World War One, what the county did and what they gave them, the people that had died during it and had served. And he went through there, and of course he knew this guy and that guy, and there was one, an E.M. Muncie, and he was one of his teachers at Brazil back in the 20s, because he graduated in 26. And he told me all about the people there, and he said that guy could have did anything. He could have went any place, and he wanted to stay here and help Clay County out. Yeah. And and there was, I can't remember, one of them was the Jenkins that was a mayor, and he said those guys were scholars, and he said they could have went any place, but they wanted to stay in Clay County and help the county out. And that was quite a compliment to me. Yeah. I mean, he went to. This is it's my grandpa. When he was a freshman in Brazil, to get there, you either had to drive over to Sturleyville, which is just south of here on 42, and you had to get on the train, which made a thing every day, take you up to school, or have somebody drive you back and forth up there where you got in the train. Well, his first year when he was a freshman, he stayed at he stayed up there all year. And he'd come home on the weekends. And but he had two jobs. He stayed at this one hotel where he got his room and board at, and his meals. But he had to fire their furnace, and he had to take care of their chickens, because they run a little restaurant too, and they had to take care of the chickens. And they had a pool hall in the back. And they played cards there. He's only a freshman, he's only...
Freshman in high school?
Freshman in high school.
Okay.
And then he worked at the school. He would get up early in the morning too, and he'd go and he'd help fire the boilers at Brazil High School. And then he went to school. Well, he said he learned to shoot pool and play cards up there at St. Well, the next year, my great-grandfather, his dad, bought a car for him to drive back and forth up to school. Now, he never said anything, but I have a feeling that my great-grandfather did not particularly care for him learning how to shoot pool and to play cards up there. Now, he never said that, but I have a feeling my great-grandfather thought that wasn't maybe the, how do you want to put it, the thing for him to know. And so anyhow, they bought a car, and then he drove through, he stopped and he picked up, he picked up one lady there in Poland, Marie Sinmeyer, or was Marie Kottman at the time. He picked her up. Of course, they paid a little bit for him to drive. And he picked up a Riddell lady just right up this road here, right up here where there used to be a house sitting on the corner. Picked her up, and then he picked up this Madge Englehart thing. So he picked up three girls, and then he took them to school. And that's how they paper, and he did that every day. He took them back and forth to school. That's a story. That's one of the stories he told me. Just
when I was young, we didn't really have much, but I was always a hard worker. always
Oh,
out
yeah,
there
yeah.
as soon as I could to make money. But I remember having a car, and because my friends were always needing rides, but
Mhm.
they never had gas money.
Yeah.
So in my head, the way I outsmarted it all was I took the seat out, the back seat.
Mhm.
It was a two-door car, so they'd say, "Hey, Harper, you give me a ride here and there." I said, "Yeah, get in." Well, there's no seat back there. I'm like, "Yeah, I know. You'll have to sit on the floor." And and that kept most of them from bumming rides off
Uh-huh.
of it, but not all. Some of them would just climb right in and make themselves at
Just
home.
yeah.
But yeah, I remember doing that.
Yeah. Now I never had. I rode the school bus 12 years to school. I never had a. Now I did once in a while. I get to drive the pickup to school, but no, I didn't drive to school. I mean, mom dad had. Mom worked. Well, she was a cook at the schools there for a good while, and then she went to work for the co-op. And then they had a car and a truck, and that was it. My sister didn't drive. She until she went to college, they got her a car then to drive over to ISU with. But no, we didn't. I didn't have a car. I mean, if I wanted a car to drive, you go out and date. Yeah, I took their car and or the pickup truck, and that was it. And I never questioned that.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I knew other kids went to school and do, but I never questioned. I mean, my God, what her mom and dad put out, that's what was there. That's what was there, and that's, I just that's what I told the boys. They go out and buy a car, and I said, I never bought a car. I was trying to think of how old I was before I ever bought a car. Dad would go out and buy the car or a truck and because he said, hey, you need a, and I bought it. The first truck I ever had was a ton truck. Dad said we need another truck, and he went out and bought it. He went out and did the thing. I know it was in my name, but Dad did he was the one that did the wheeling and dealing. I never did that stuff. I mean, Dad's the one that did it. And until Dad passed away, most of the time he was the one that did the wheeling and dealing. I mean, I didn't do that. I mean, if I knew something, he was the one that went and dealt with the people because he was he was pretty I don't know, hard nosed about stuff, and he could get a better deal than anybody could, I guess. And I never questioned that, Paul. I never questioned that at all. I mean, that was just the way things were.
How old were you when he passed?
I was 41. Mom passed away when I was 40, and Dad passed away next year. I was 41.
So it really wasn't that long ago.
No, it's 19 years ago from Dad and 20 years from Mom. Yeah, it wasn't. Man, no. So anyhow, that was I wasn't quite right in the thing because Mom passed away in '94. That was 19 years ago, and Dad passed away in '95, so that'd been 18 years. Yeah, 19 and 18 years ago. No, that just seems like yesterday too, Paul.
Yeah.
That's.
Well, I think when I was 21 when I moved up here, and it seems like it was just a year or two ago.
You lived in Tacoma, Washington? I mean, you was in.
Oh yeah, I lived in Germany and Mississippi and Missouri and Washington.
Your dad was in the Army or the.
Yeah. My biological dad was from Mississippi. He was a traveling salesman.
Mm-hmm.
He sold magazines.
Okay.
And during the 60s and 70s, there was a lot of money to be made off of that.
Mhm.
I guess he ran a crew and did quite well with it.
Mm-hmm.
So in '74, I guess he and Mom split up, and there's a lot of bad that went with that. But then when she married my dad or my stepdad, he was in the Army, so we traveled a lot.
Yeah. Well, you got to see a lot of the world then. Jeez.
Yeah.
Or was you pretty young when you were overseas, or?
Yes, I was 5 and 6 in Germany, 7 in Washington. We moved a lot in Missouri, but
You got in Fort Leonard Wood?
no,
No.
we were around DeSoto, Missouri then. But
Okay.
my family, there was 8 of us. My dad made good money, but there was 8 of us, so that equaled out to not much money.
Yeah.
And Mom didn't work; she had all of us kids. But so we moved a lot, really. Changed schools a lot when I was younger. But and then I wound up here. They moved up here, and then I was driving an hour for a $6 an hour job in St. Louis.
Mm-hmm.
So I came up to visit them and got a job at Metal Industries, and it started at $12 an hour.
Oh my!
So that was an easy decision, and I moved up here, and then I've been here
You've
since.
been here ever since, yeah.
And I'm
What year?
42 now.
What year was that you?
Well, I was 21.
21.
So 71.
Been 20 years.
92.
92.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it seems like it was just yesterday.
Yeah. It just. There's one of the, and I now this is another story. And it was when we went to school or Jackson. But at the time they were building Interstate 70.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know if you know how that, but they would move a section, and they brought workers with them. I mean, there was people that just followed the road.
Yeah.
And this one family that you talk about kids moving in, we had kids come in and went to school here, and they was just there for a little while. And this one boy I remember in particular, his name was Eugene. I don't remember his last name. And I was in the 7th grade. And this just was always stuck with me, and I don't know why, but of course, you know, they didn't have a lot, and they lived in a trailer court that was just right over here where Gary Nesty lives at now. There was a trailer court in there. And there was probably, I don't know, 20 or 30 trailers in there, but that was where the workers, their families were there. And Eugene had a brace on one leg. He had polio or something, you know, and he had a brace on, but he was